All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. And I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to those who are elect, hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. Okay, I'm your brother Iwalam from the GMS West Palm Beach Camp, back in another lesson. Pretty much this one being, how do we know that we're at the end? It's something that through the Spirit I want to, touch on. How do we know we're at the end? Because the end is undeniably, here. You can't, even the common person's like, even the everyday person, they know that something ain't right. All right, with this world, all right, something ain't right, because the common person, they're not really worried about Bible prophecy. They're not worried about the things pertaining to the Spirit. They're mostly worried about living their life and living it up. But even them, they see and they know that life just ain't good right now. What's going on. So that's how you know that it's getting more getting more clear that things ain't right now, But how much more so those of us in this truth that understand this truth, and we're given the signs to see the end, But this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 2, and it says, "And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables." Right, and the vision is pretty much these prophecies, because all the prophets, the men of the Lord, believe it or not, they were seeing the same thing, so to speak, but they all wrote it in different ways or saw it in different ways. Well, let me say it like this: they all, explained it differently. When you read the Bible, you'll read about the missiles. One will refer to the nuclear missiles as a great hail, and then the other will refer to the missiles as arrows. You see what I'm saying? So this is what it's talking about, right? The vision to make it plain upon tables, to where in our time right now, you have our elders, our apostles, that have broken these visions down for us to where we understand these things plainly, man. It says, make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right? And these visions, they're not tarrying. Although here in America, Babylon, it may seem like life is still going. Ain't nothing going on, concerning like Bible prophecy. But when you think about it, there's a lot going on right now. You got uproars of the people. Man, I'm gonna get that in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. Uproars of the people. You got more talks of war going on. The spirit of these people is uneasy, man, because you got inflation. The price of everything still ain't going down. Okay, and that shit's only going up. Matter of fact, they call it shrinkflation, to where they're reducing the products. Like, let me give you an example, like chips, right? A bag of chips, man, back in the day when you used to buy those things, you used to get it filled to the top with chips. And now they're filling the chips with air, all right, and charging you more for it. So you're pretty much getting paid for less. It's like you're paying for less. You're paying for less, and this is what you have with these people, man. See, that's that inflation. So now, this is what these people people are just stressing about everything, and it's only gonna get worse. All right, in the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, it goes into the inflation. It says, that was it on this chapter, Salaki, as I'm driving right now. But let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter. 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, and verse 1. 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, and verse 1. And it said, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before. Right, and how do we measure the time? We measure the time through prophecy. Alright? You can, you'll look outside and you'll be like, man, it's gonna be a bad weather today. Right? The weather not looking too good. Maybe I should stay inside. I shouldn't do nothing today. Alright? Or if you wake up, maybe at 10 o'clock and you see the sun is out, the birds are chirping, you smell, the dew, you be like, you know what, I'm gonna go out today. I might go to the beach, might live, have some fun or whatever. Yeah, So you can discern the times, literally, like make plans to what, depending on what the time is. But then spiritually, you gotta discern the times too, and we can discern the times. By prophecies. We understand that we're at the end because, once again, I'm about to read it. Actually, verse 2 says, Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. The highest, Yahweh, through his son Yahushua, is going to visit this current world. Alright, starting with the rulers. Because the rulers, which is the Edomites, the so-called white people, they have the earth in their hands right now. And the earth is in chaos. See? Verse 3 says, Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. See? And there are still earthquakes happening around the world right now. It's just not being reported. You see? And uproars of the people, hey, that's all that's been going on. For the past week or so, 2 weeks or so, since the man's, was taken out. You've just had uproars of the people from then on. You literally got a civil war getting ready to, it's brewing up. Between the right and the left, man. So you got the uproars of the people. This is all Bible prophecy. This is how we know we're at the end. Alright? And it's only that, it's until the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, ordains it to happen. It's just gonna pop off. See? You got the whole MOTB system, getting ready to be implemented. Well, it's already here. The MOTB system is already implemented. The MOTB, really is what's going to be set up into society. Okay? We got the just the FFs, I can't say the word, so we gotta speak in code. But the FFs is pretty much what's going to usher, the Esau's system, that MOTB. Okay? It says, Then shalt thou understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like all is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. You see? So it's undeniable that we're at the end. And you got those of our people, and I saw a video, Jake, niggas, man, they were crying over the death of this guy, man. That's why the Lord going to destroy 2/3 of our people. They love it here, man. They love Massa. because what the hell did that do for, these niggas, man? He ain't do nothing. That's what I'm saying. Like, they made him to an idol. They made this guy into an idol. Like, well, before he was taken out, what did he do for, the Jake community? He ain't do nothing for Jake community. Or even Esau. I ain't no dude, I heard that he make, certain points or whatever, but, hey, they made him into an idol. Not everybody, the supporters of Trump, not everybody's losing their minds because the left took one of theirs, and it's just confusion and madness. And that's why I just, stand in prophecy, it'll cut all that shit, man, because, you just gotta keep your eyes single, man. Because if you focus on what they got going on, you're gonna lose sight of, the goal. I was ultimately, preaching this word and staying on point with prophecy. And that's all it is. All these things are distractions. Because whether he's dead or not, the point is to stay on point with prophecy, man. Let's go to I quoted it, Revelation, the 6th chapter. Revelation 6 and verse 6, and it says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." You see, when it says penny right there, that's really going into the Roman denarius or denarion. I forgot what it's called, but pretty much around that denarius, to where a day's pay would allow you to eat. And that's pretty much inflation. In our time, people are living paycheck to paycheck. Some can't even live paycheck to paycheck, right? Shit. People are, making payments on groceries. You see? So, that's that inflation, man. It costs an arm and a leg to live. So at this point, it's only a matter of time. This guy's on my ass, bro. It's only a matter of time before, these people lose their minds, man. It's only a matter of time before these people lose their minds. And when they do lose their minds, yeah, we're gonna rejoice at it because, for one, it's Bible prophecy. For one, it's prophecy. And then for two, it's we're rejoicing in the fact that Babylon is falling. Alright, because when Babylon was up and running, everybody was happy. Nobody was checking for us. Matter of fact, everybody was coming against our elders and our apostles. Everybody was coming against us, man. So now it's time for, their calamity to come upon them. Even, 2/3 of our people. We don't feel nothing for 2/3, man. The Lord don't feel, right now, the Lord don't feel nothing. He feel no empathy for 2/3. Should I put it like that? He will have mercy on all of our people in the kingdom. And when you think about it, when the Lord destroys 2/3 of our people, that's sort of like, mercy, because Jake is destroyed out here, man. When you look at the condition of our people, all right, when you look at the condition of our people, Jake is bugged out, man. You know, you see Jake with the red hair, the pink hair, and that's not to say they can't repent, you know, but overall, Jake is bugged out here, man. And you see those that are too far gone, and it's like, yep, nah, you know, he's done, he's finished. You see? But once again, it's never beyond the Lord's power to pull somebody out of that darkness. Salaki. But when you look at Jake out here, man, you know, they're finished. You see? But my point being is that the Lord, you know, of course, will have mercy on all 12 tribes of Israel, you know, in the kingdom of heaven, you know, as it is written, all Israel shall be saved, you know? So, because when you look at it, when you look at it, you know, Jake got to pay, you know, for the blood of the prophets and the blood of Yahushua. You know, what I mean by the blood of Yahushua is that they gave the Lord up to the Romans and said, crucify him. They chose Barabbas over Yahushua. So the Lord got to get his revenge. You know, and the Lord is all about vengeance. You know, he says in the book of Isaiah 63, the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the day of my redeemed is come. You know? So, you know, that's pretty much it, man. I just want to go through that in the spirit. You know, once again, you know, this has been, you know, we are undeniably at the end. You know, and if you got spiritual eyes, you know, you ain't gotta look into the sky, alright, to know what times we in. Although you can look into the sky and see, you know, the pollution and see the things going on that Esau is doing. But really what I'm referring to is, you know, spiritually, you know, seeing the forecast, you know, of what times that we're in, you know. So, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the full egg, hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. Until next time, I say shalom.